having a great Saturday today. I want to take a moment and just share some thoughts I had about our emotions and how we can use them to help us, progress and empower ourselves. And I talked a little bit about this last week in my video, but when I first started learning about various mindset strategies, I erroneously thought that it was mostly about becoming more self-disciplined and just, controlling how you thought and felt, and but I soon realized that, mastering our thoughts and actions was not about denying how I felt, but it was more about understanding the messages that my emotions were telling me, and then using these messages to help me make changes in my life that would help move me forward in a positive direction. So I mean, think about it. As I mentioned before, where do our emotions come from? They come from the meaning that we've chosen to give a situation in our life or a circumstance in our life. And they also come from, various rules and criteria that we've created for ourselves. So, and, it's kind of interesting to think about, but because we don't really think about it consciously all the time, I think is, we do have like little rules and criteria of things that we expect in our life, where we expect ourselves to be at a certain age, or, you know, the type of job or the money or the house that we should have. But we also have little expectations too of, how people should treat us, how our house should look, or how people should act when they come to our house, that sort of thing. Anyway, and so all these little rules and expectations that we have, when they are violated, then they can can create these responses within us, these emotions that aren't always the most positive. And so, all of these things we can change. We can change how we interpret a situation, or what a circumstance, what an experience means to us. And we can change the rules for what we've created of how we believe life should be or how others should treat us. But, like I mentioned earlier, even though we do have a lot of influence over our emotions, this is not about just forcing ourselves to feel a certain way. Um, we need What's really going to help us in our lives is to learn how to use our emotions for our benefit, because there aren't essentially negative emotions or bad emotions in the way that we would consider them negative or bad, as in, they're emotions that we shouldn't feel, because these emotions that we consider to be negative or bad are simply signals that something needs to change. When we feel fear, that means, we need to make a change. That there is perhaps some impending danger approaching, that we need to make a change so that we're prepared for that, or that we can prevent that from happening. So it's not going to help us to suppress that fear or deny it, because for whatever reason we're feeling it, that it's probably still going to come. And so we need to address it. And, so in reality, every emotion we experience can serve us and benefit, as long as we interpret it in a way that will empower us and help us to move forward and help us to recognize and make the necessary changes. So when we have emotions, when we have these, undesirable emotions, I guess you can say, there's a variety of ways that we respond. And, some of these ways are, we feel like it's wrong, that emotion is bad or negative, or we'll try to avoid it or suppress it. Sometimes, we'll freak out about it and start stressing out about it and wondering why we feel that way. Sometimes we'll just ignore it and try to pretend that we don't feel that way. And, other times, we'll make ourselves feel wrong for feeling it, like something's wrong with us. But if we respond in any of these ways, the emotions that we're feeling won't go away, and we won't solve anything. the emotions will just intensify and become more difficult to address with a clear head. And so the way that we need to respond is to acknowledge the emotion, appreciate it for what it is. It's a signal that something needs to change, that we need to address something or evaluate something in our life. And so what we need to do is to accurately identify that emotion then, and then figure out what the message is, what it's trying to tell us. So I want to share with you just a simple process of what I've used to help me evaluate my emotions and to allow them to help me progress and make the changes that I need to in my life so that I can avoid negative situations. So the first thing that I do is I recognize the message. So I realize I'm feeling this way because something I'm doing right now is not working and I need to change it. So I don't exaggerate that emotion. If I'm feeling frustrated, I don't I don't exaggerate it like I mentioned last week by saying nothing is going to work and why do I even try? You know, taking it to some extreme level, but I also don't lie to myself or deny it. I can say, gosh, yeah, I'm feeling a bit frustrated. I've, I'm kind of struggling with seeing how this is going to work or what I need to do. And I can acknowledge that emotion without exaggerating it, because when I exaggerate it, then it becomes more difficult to be able to identify the message and to be able to address that message. So it's important to kind of play around with different ways to describe your emotions so that you can describe them in a more clear, unexaggerated way. And so identify, okay, what am I feeling? And then recognize that something that I'm doing right now is not working and I need to change that. And usually I need to change one of two things. So first, either I need to change my perception of the situation. So, how am I evaluating the situation? And is it accurate? Like, am I really in danger here? Or did that person actually mean to offend me? Or, was my husband actually ignoring me? Or was he just busy? Or did I just come in at a bad timing? Or, whatever it may be. But, so asking myself, is my perception inaccurate in this situation? Like, is there a different meaning that I could give this situation and a different interpretation? Can I look at this in a different way? So I first ask myself that, do I need to change my perception? And then second, I ask myself, do I need to change my procedure? So what am I doing that may be causing this response from others that then makes me feel these emotions? So, for example, is the way that I'm communicating or expressing my needs effective? So, for example, if I'm feeling, lonely or upset or not appreciated, am I expressing to to the people around me that I need more time with them or that I need them to, um, every once in a while express that they're grateful for what I'm doing or whatever it may be. So I need to consider, am I expressing my needs appropriately? And then sometimes, too, I need to evaluate, okay, what am I doing? Does my behavior need to change? Perhaps the way that I am requesting something or expressing my needs, perhaps that is not appropriate, and so then I'm getting responses that are making me feel upset and hurt as well. So those are the first two things that I evaluate for what I may possibly need to change in my life: my perceptions or my procedure. And then second, I get curious and I ask myself a few questions. How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel happy? Do I want to feel secure? Do I want to feel loved and appreciated? And then what would I have to believe in order to feel that way? And I love this question because, I don't think we realize how much our beliefs affect how we feel. So if I'm feeling lonely or frustrated and sad, what would I have to believe to feel that way? Well, I'd have to believe that people don't care about me or people don't love me or that, you know, um, things won't work out for me or that I don't really have a purpose and what I'm doing doesn't really matter. And so when I consider that, I usually come to the conclusion, as I hope you two will too, is that, I don't believe that. I don't believe that nobody loves me or cares about me. I don't believe that things won't work out or that I don't have a purpose. And so then I ask myself, okay, well, what would I have to believe in order to feel that I am loved or valued or that, things are going to work out and whatever. And so I realized, okay, yeah, I have to believe that people do appreciate me. I have family and friends that love me and care about me. And I have had experiences in the past where things have worked out when I didn't think they could possibly work out. So I know that things are going to work out. Or, I have had someone in the past thank me for doing something for them that seems small and insignificant. And so I know that I do have purpose or that what I'm doing does have significance. And so I choose to focus on and believe those things, which then empower me and invite um, more positive feelings into my life. And then the other thing that I ask myself is, what am I willing to do right now to have that feeling? Because as I mentioned before, motion equals emotion. Sometimes we have to take action to get the emotions that we want in our life. We can't just wait to have those emotions come to us. We can't just wait to feel loved or appreciated. Sometimes we have to be the ones that go out and serve someone or reach out to a friend. We can't just sit there and wait to feel like everything's going to be okay. We got to take action and start moving towards our goal, and then we'll start to feel like, okay, yeah, things are going to work out because I'm taking action. So those are the three questions that I ask that really help me to be able to use my to evaluate my emotions and use them in a positive way in my life. So, how do I want to feel, and what would I have to believe in order to feel that way? And then, what am I willing to do right now to have that feeling? And I love this process. It's really simple, but very powerful in helping me to just not allow my emotions to control me, but to be able to utilize my emotions in a way that will empower me and help me to make necessary changes in my life. Because, you know, our our emotions really are powerful influence, and they ultimately affect how we experience life. If we let them fester inside of us and just suppress them and hold them down or try to ignore them, then they'll ultimately destroy us and destroy our happiness. But if we can learn how to use them as guides, then we'll be able to make the necessary changes in our lives that will empower us and bring us happiness. So I challenge you today to try to use this process to, reckon to when you have an emotion that feels negative, recognize, okay, there's a message here for me. Something I'm doing right now isn't working and I need to change something. What do I need to change? Is it my perceptions or my procedure? And then ask yourself those next three questions. How do I want to feel? What would I have to believe in order to feel that way? And what am I willing to do right now to have that feeling? So I hope you take on this challenge and that you begin to utilize your emotions in a way that will empower you and help you to embrace life and to have more happiness and joy. And I hope that you can live life more intentionally every day. We'll see you later.